Sign over Grandpa's estate or face court, you little bloodless adopted freak. Those words came from my own sister. Standing in my office, with 4 lawyers, ready to steal what she thought was $5 million. But she had no idea that Grandpa had secretly left me $20 million. What happened next? The most brutal revenge you'll ever hear. My name is Rebecca. And for 27 years, my sister Caroline made sure I knew. I wasn't real family. The adopted charity case. The one who thinks she belongs here. Every family gathering was a reminder. But our grandfather Winston? He saw something different. While Caroline spent his money on designer bags, I built a real relationship with him. Learning about his business. Caring about his health. Actually listening. Caroline thought our talks about international real estate were boring. She'd roll her eyes when Winston mentioned London properties. Or Barcelona developments. She had no idea those boring conversations were about to change everything. 2 years before Winston died. Caroline's birthday party. The most expensive restaurant in Portland. She slid the bill to Winston without even looking. Thanks, Grandpa. You're the best. Not even a please. Not even gratitude. Just expectation. That night, Winston was quiet. She's never asked about my health, he said. Never wondered if I'm okay financially. She thinks the money will always be there. That's when everything changed. Those conversations became more frequent. More detailed. Winston showed me documents I'd never seen. Property deeds. Trust agreements. Wealth beyond imagination. Properties in London's financial district. Luxury developments in Barcelona. Commercial buildings in Singapore. $20 million. Hidden in plain sight. Caroline sees money as something to spend, Winston said. But you understand wealth as a tool for creating something lasting. 6 months before his death, Winston called me to his study. Legal documents everywhere. His attorney on video call from London. Rebecca, I need you to understand something about Caroline. He pulled out printed emails and texts. All from Caroline. All about money. Shopping trips. Vacation funding. Credit card complaints. Not once asking about his well-being. She sent me this last week. A demand for car money. Written like ordering coffee. She doesn't even sign it with love. Then he showed me my messages. Questions about doctor appointments. Offers to help with groceries. Thank you notes for advice. The difference was devastating. The international properties, Winston said. The offshore accounts. The real estate trusts. They're all being transferred to you. I stared at the papers in shock. Buildings in London worth millions. Commercial developments in Barcelona. Investment portfolios in Singapore. Winston, I can't accept this. Caroline is your biological granddaughter. His expression hardened. Biology doesn't determine character, Rebecca. You've shown me respect and genuine care. Caroline has shown me she views me as a bank account with legs. The lawyer explained the structure. Caroline would get the visible wealth. The house, the cars, the domestic investments. $5 million. But the real wealth? The international empire? Already legally mine. This has been planned for 3 years, the lawyer said. Every transfer was legal. Caroline's lawyers will find nothing irregular. 3 years later, Winston died. 3 days later, Caroline stormed into my office. 4 briefcases. Documents spread like weapons. Cold blue eyes staring me down. Sign over Grandpa's estate or face court, little bloodless sis. She shoved papers at me. An inheritance waiver, making her sole beneficiary of Grandpa's $5 million estate. Her lawyer leaned forward smugly. Your sister could contest based on biological precedents, but she's willing to avoid litigation if you simply acknowledge the natural order. I poured tea. Calmly poured tea while they waited for surrender. Would anyone like tea? I have excellent Earl Grey from Winston's last London trip. Caroline's face flushed. This isn't a social visit, Rebecca. Sign the papers. But I continued the ritual Winston taught me, watching their discomfort grow. Of course, I said finally. I understand completely. You want to finalize everything quickly. I smiled warmly. I'll make sure everything is properly handled tomorrow morning. Caroline visibly relaxed, mistaking my calm for surrender. She had no idea tomorrow would shatter everything. The next morning, 9 o'clock sharp. Crawford and Associates, 23rd floor. Caroline strutted in with supreme confidence. 4 lawyers, plus 2 additional associates. She was wearing a new designer dress, bought in anticipation of her windfall. I appreciate you being reasonable, Caroline, she told me in the elevator. Family law is clear about biological precedents. Her lawyer nodded approvingly. Your sister is being generous. Many biological heirs would pursue full litigation to ensure adoptees receive nothing. I smiled politely, watching the floor numbers climb. They had no idea they were walking into Winston's real lawyer's office. Crawford greeted us in his spacious office, overlooking the river. Distinguished man in his 60s. The precision of someone who'd structured international deals for decades. Before we begin, Crawford said, I want to ensure everyone understands the scope of Winston Mitchell's estate planning. He opened a thick file. There are domestic assets, which follow traditional probate, and international holdings, governed by separate legal structures. Caroline's lawyer leaned forward eagerly. We're prepared for complications. The estate consists of the house, cars, and domestic investments, valued at approximately $5 million. Crawford nodded thoughtfully. Yes, those are the domestic assets. They will go to Caroline as biological heir. He paused, studying his papers. However, that represents roughly 20% of Winston's total wealth. Dead silence. Caroline's confident expression flickered. What do you mean, 20%? Winston Mitchell built extensive international holdings, properties in London's financial district, commercial developments in Barcelona, luxury buildings in Singapore. Total value exceeds $20 million. One lawyer cleared his throat. If these assets exist, biological precedents would still apply. Crawford smiled slightly. That would be true if they were part of Winston's estate. However, they were transferred to Rebecca 3 years ago. I watched Caroline's face transform. Confidence crumbling, replaced by disbelief. Growing panic. That's impossible, she stammered. He never mentioned international properties to me. Crawford pulled out another folder. Winston documented his reasons thoroughly. He expressed concern about transactional family relationships. Wanted his wealth used responsibly rather than consumed. Then came the devastating blow. Crawford played audio recordings. Caroline's own voice filled the room. "Come on, Grandpa. It's just money. You can't take it with you, right? I deserve to enjoy life while I'm young." Caroline paled listening to herself. The recording continued. Winston's gentle response. Caroline's sharp, dismissive laugh. "That's your job to worry about, not mine. I'm not some boring accountant like Rebecca." Each recording worse than the last. Caroline demanding vacation money. Getting angry when Winston suggested contribution. "I don't understand why you're being difficult. You're rich. I'm your granddaughter. End of story." Meanwhile, my recordings played. Discussions about sustainable building. Questions about his health. Expressions of gratitude. The difference was undeniable. Caroline's lawyer scrambled for legal foothold. Surely the emotional manipulation. There was no manipulation, Crawford interrupted. Winston initiated everything independently. Multiple attorneys consulted. Psychiatric evaluation completed. Years of careful consideration. He read Winston's handwritten letter. Blood relation does not guarantee love, respect, or responsibility. Rebecca has shown me the person I hope to have as my legacy. She understands wealth as a trust to be stewarded, not a prize to be consumed. Caroline stood abruptly. Chair scraping against floor. "This is insane. Some adopted stranger gets 20 million. While I get table scraps. You're receiving 4.2 million after taxes," Crawford corrected. Many would consider that substantial. But Caroline wasn't listening. Face flushed with rage and humiliation. She manipulated him. Poisoned his mind against real family. This has to be fraud. Crawford's expression remained neutral. Winston's decision-making is extensively documented. 3 independent attorneys reviewed transfers. 2 medical professionals certified competence. The structure is legally bulletproof. The final blow? Crawford opened his laptop. Video call from London. Crawford Jr. appeared on screen. Office overlooking the Thames. "Good morning, everyone. Confirming receipt of Rebecca's management agreements. Ready to proceed with Barcelona expansion. Whenever she's prepared to visit properties." Caroline stared in complete disbelief. Barcelona expansion? "The trust includes provisions for growth," Crawford explained. Winston believed Rebecca would build upon his wealth responsibly. Here's where the revenge becomes legendary. Caroline, blinded by rage and entitlement, decided to challenge the inheritance internationally. 3 separate courts. London. Barcelona. Singapore. Her lawyers warned about costs. But she was so consumed with fury, she spent her entire 4.2 million inheritance on legal fees. Trying to prove fraud that didn't exist. She lost spectacularly. The British High Court was savage. The transfers were executed with full legal compliance. The plaintiff provided no evidence of fraud or coercion. This appears frivolous. Motivated by disappointment rather than legitimate grounds. Caroline had to sell everything. Car. Jewelry. Apartment. Everything to pay crushing legal bills. left with massive debt. No assets beyond personal belongings. 6 months later, I stood in my new London office. Winston's properties had tripled in value. Barcelona development generating significant income. My assistant knocked softly. "Caroline is here. She wants to speak with you." I found her in reception. Haggard. Completely defeated. Designer clothes replaced by budget attire. Confident arrogance nowhere to be seen. "Rebecca," she said quietly. Voice hoarse from stress and legal battles. "I need to talk to you." We sat overlooking the Thames. Caroline's hands trembled as she spoke. "I have lost everything. Court cases. Legal fees. I don't even have money for rent." For the first time, I saw genuine remorse, mixed with desperate fear. "What do you want me to say, Caroline?" "I was wrong," she whispered, the words seeming to physically pain her. "About you. About Grandpa. About everything. I thought family meant automatic entitlement. But I never tried to earn his love or respect. I felt a flicker of old family bond. Before superiority had poisoned everything." "Winston left me a letter too," I said, pulling out the envelope I'd carried since his death. "He wrote it knowing you would challenge. Knowing you would lose everything." Caroline's eyes widened as I read. "If you are reading this to Caroline, it means she has learned the hard lesson. I could not teach through love alone. She is still my granddaughter. I hope this transforms her understanding." The letter continued with instructions. A trust fund for basic living expenses. Contingent on demonstrating genuine change. Community service. Personal growth. "He never wanted you destroyed," I explained. "He wanted you to learn the difference between earning something and expecting it." Caroline broke down completely. Months of suppressed grief pouring out. "I was so focused on money. I never saw how much he loved us both. I threw away his love for money that wasn't mine." Through tears, she asked, "Is there any way I could work for you? Learn about the business? Prove I can be more than entitled?" I looked out at London's skyline, thinking about Winston's final wish. Family reconciliation. Barcelona office needs assistant property manager. Entry-level position. Small salary. Lots of learning opportunities. Caroline nodded eagerly. "I'll take it. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for giving me a chance to become someone Grandpa would be proud of." 2 years later, standing in Barcelona office, overseeing Winston's empire, now worth over 50 million. Caroline still works here, learning what contribution means. Instead of just consumption, becoming someone Winston would be proud of. Understanding finally, family isn't about blood or entitlement. It's about love, respect, and genuine care. The moral? Treat people with respect. You never know who's watching. Taking notes for years, Caroline thought being real family entitled her to everything. She learned entitlement must be earned, not inherited. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's proving you deserved better all along. And now, I'm building something that will last generations. While Caroline learns what family really means, blood doesn't make family. Love and respect do.